Hello, hello, and we're back again, picking up where we left off. Ooh, and we pick up with the train. We managed to do 3 levels in the last one. Um, Destroy brake units, rescue Natalia, and escape to safety. I remember some of this. I remember some of this. Anyway, today we're going to talk about at the end we're going to talk about what is that called? Sorry, I shouldn't have gotten into the game before I. Ah, thought I had you. Oh, good thing this kind of aims for you. Oh, shh. Um, Dude, I love how as soon as I turn on anything, I forget what I wanted to talk about. Um, I start. My brain's gone, man. Oh, yay, the toilet. It's locked. Ooh, ooh, from behind. I knew there was one that was I hadn't opened. Now I know there's a brake line in here somewhere. Oop, from behind. gotta be one more brake line. I know I haven't cut them all. I don't have much life left. There it is. Ah, did I miss one? More toilets. Open up. Nobody. I thought I got every one as I came through. One of those days. I got one on that train. I got that one. Maybe there's one on the back end of of this train I didn't see. No? I know there's not one on the back end of the one I started in because I went that way. I'll check again just to make sure. I always seem to miss something on this level. It's always something stupid. It's one of the few levels where you can backtrack and not run into 100 people. So there must still be one more train after that one room. Arbitration agreements. Goodness gracious. Why did that escape my head for so long? So today we're going to talk about arbitration agreements at the end. There we go. Yeah, and that's where they are. Oh, come on. All right. Hurry up, woman. We gotta go. Come on. Come on. All right, I'm leaving. Oh, should have done that beforehand. I don't know if I actually. Nope, failed. I should have done that before. All right. Then we're gonna rush through. That was an abysmal failure. Need something with a little bit more firepower. Yes, Yes. So today we're going to be talking about arbitration agreements, why they're bad for you and me, and why there needs to be reform done. Should be a good time. Oh, they blew that up. Oh, come on. They shouldn't be able to blow up boxes so easy. Where did you come from? I was standing here the whole time. I am running through fire. We're here. Oh my goodness. Oh no. Come out. Come out. What'd you do? Come out of the toilet? There we go. You must go bye-bye. I remember this one when I was younger. Used to give me the slip, that one brake line right there. Oh no. Talk about reloading at the wrong time. Thanks. No one in there. That just happened. I knew I missed one. I just didn't know where he went. Here we go. There's A complete. You have to come through that door. I got his gun. Man, it's much harder than I thought, than I remember. Let's go. Let's go. There we go. Made it out. Whew, it took longer than it should have. Oh, because I forgot to just get off the train instead of wait for her. Destroy the drone guns. Eliminate her. Escort Natalia to Jana's base. Great. I forget. I feel like you get a really nice, a different kind of gun in this one that's really cool. I just remember not liking the jungle. That's right. She has a really. She's got like a. Yeah. Oh, that's right. They've got. I remember what they've got in this one. We're in Cuba now. I need lots of ammo for this one. Pretty sure. Yeah, there it is. Is that not it? Probably won't know. Yep, there it is. Messed that up. Walked right into it. Who is it? Natalia, you could at least pull your weight. Do something. Oh, good. You did something. At least cover me. There they are, right there. Like she's yelling at me to be careful. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, she's got a magnum, as I recall. Oh, no. Not her. Where are you? There you are. You blew up the bridge? She blew up the bridge. Goodness gracious. I kind of, yeah, oh, she threw a grenade at us. That's nice. Oh, that's right. I think she has like a grenade launcher and a assault rifle. Both of which not good to be against. Yeah, let's not get caught without a weapon this time. Thanks for picking up some of that fire from behind me. That would have been nice of you, Thalia. Yeah, there it is. Whoa. I feel like you get much luckier on Agent with getting. Hmm. Oh, good job. Knowing her, she shot him in a most inappropriate spot. Oh, she got more than one. Dear me. Where are they? Oh, yep, there they are. Oh my. I was lucky. Or was it? It was not skill, I can tell you that much. Reason I call myself a noob. Now, yep, there it is. Trying to make it out. I know I saw somebody over here. Nope. Oh, nope, he was right there. Goodness gracious. Get this man some water. All right. Let's not. Yes, yes, the pleasure will be all mine. Blah, bitty, blah, blah, blah. Only one way for you to come in. Ah, there's that grenade launcher. And there's the second one. Try not to get shot. Oh, good job, Natalia. Yes. The RPC 90. Such a random gun. Well, that's all done. Now we just have to find the last minigun. I believe there's 5 actually, so I think there's 2 more. One. And there's, I think, 1 or 2 more. Should be more careful because I'm walking into problems with health. Now we're getting close to the end here. There should be at least 1 more. Yep, there it is. Ah! Whew. I got no crossfire, and she was no help. What? Oh, yeah, it was the guy. Okay. I was trying to be cautious with that, but what can you do? I think the next 2 levels are probably the hardest levels you can go through. Because you have got this is the jungle, and then after that, you have to defend Natalia from getting worked on. I think I'm going to be a little skittish in this level. Try to be. Let them come to me. Usually I try to run. I've been running too much into danger. Okay, yeah. Good job. Okay, here's the next minigun. And it is slightly too... Oh, never mind. Our boys are coming. Where are you, minigun? There it is. Didn't have to endanger myself too much to get that. Good job, Natalia. I don't know what you just did, but good job. Uh, uh, uh. go. All right. Am I waiting behind? Yep, right there. All right, let's do the same thing this time. Whoop, back up and just let her come across that stupid bridge. Oh, oh my goodness. She did blow herself up? Uh, the two girls fight it out. She does really well against her. I don't know why. It's almost like the game wants you to just let Natalia take her out. Okay, and then there is one hanging out. There's a. There it is. Gotcha. Now the cave ahead. Ah! There's more? Ugh. Oh, there's a minigun up there. Oh, no, there wasn't. There's just some random guy shooting me in the head. Thanks for taking out that hand grenade. Oops. Oops. Ah! All right. We'll have to pick that one up next time. Let's talk about some arbitration agreements. Um, the biggest thing about arbitration agreements that you have to remember is we'll talk about the history of it. So, when arbitration first came into effect, it was a good thing. The courts were inundated with cases that were taking a very long time, and Supreme Courts of the states very much had it that they wanted cases not open for a long time, and it kind of pushed judges to not allow, you know, to move cases along. The unfortunate part is that people were using stalling tactics. They were basically the cost for litigation had gone through the roof. And then even when you got to the end of your trial, there was appeal after appeal after appeal after appeal, and it would just drive the cost of litigation up. Um, Towards the end, it wasn't becoming really worth it to have access to a court and to go to the court and have a dispute um, finalized and resolved, because by the time you got to the end of it, any kind of damages or anything was useless. And you also saw a rise of another thing, which was class action lawsuits. But once again, that really didn't help a lot as far as making people whole, as more of it was towards penalizing, trying to penalize companies. So the courts and everyone sat down and they came up with mediation and arbitration. Mediation is its own thing. We'll talk about that. That's mostly more of a combat or more of a contract um, dispute resolution, alternate dispute resolution kind of thing. Whereas arbitration was more of um, we have two problems. We have a problem here outside of a contract, and it had greatly reduced the cost of litigation at that time. And it went really well because it arbitration is binding. So once the arbiter decides on, it hears both sides of the case, it gives its final verdict. It's binding. So it's not like you can just, like in mediation, if you don't agree with, the mediator's suggestion, you can still go back to the court. Whereas if the arbiter lays down, what it thinks is going on, and this is the decision of the arbiter, the courts more than likely, unless it's greatly egregious, more than likely going to side with the arbiter. Um, that's kind of it, and it was good because you couldn't appeal the decision unless, like I said, there was some kind of funny business going on that was proven. Um, Now, yeah, and even then, that was kind of hard. So, arbitration helped that. It helped reduce the loads on the courts. It helped reduce. It initially helped reduce the amount of money that was put into litigation. Um, and the Arbitration Act and at the federal level was passed that kind of wanted people to steer more towards arbitration than going to court, not to block them from the court, but to help reduce the cost of arbitration, help reduce the amount of cases the courts had, and all of that. Well, at first, like I said, it worked out well. If you've ever seen Pretty Woman, it worked out really well for that class action lawsuit because you had a lot of clients. They had medical bills. They needed things to get done. It kept the cost of their litigation low, and at the same time, PG&E didn't have a chance to go and appeal after the everything was settled. They wouldn't have had a chance to go and appeal and drag that out to where most of the people, by the time they caught any of that money, it wouldn't have mattered because they couldn't afford what they were doing now, the medical bills now. And it was really good for them in that instance. However, that was agreed to after the fact. Um, they, in the movie at least, in the movie they show you that they agreed to arbitration as a class action after the lawsuit was filed and after they were going into everything. Nowadays, that's not the case. Nowadays, just about every company that you come across is going to have a terms of service on something that you're using. With the exception of like grocery stores, they don't have terms of service. But you know, um, a computer, Microsoft, Apple, Samsung, Verizon, AT&T, just about every service that you use that's electronical, any kind of website or anything has a terms of service. Shoot, I went canoeing one time in Florida, and they had a terms of service and a binding arbitration agreement and a waiver of your right to hear a trial before a jury if you got injured doing their canoeing in a lake, not in like some kind of like massively dangerous river. It was a lake. You know, everybody nowadays has put in an arbitration agreement. Uh, that has started to take away people's Seventh Amendment right, which is the right, to be heard by a jury of your peers and um and have access to the courts. And it started in the early. It's realistically, what was it? I want to say it was yeah, AT&T. AT&T? Yeah. Oh no, it's AOL. AOL was the one. If you go and look, there's several cases that has to do with terms of service in the late 90s and the early 2000s with those little discs. If you're old enough, you would know, like, AOL would send you a disc in the mail, or something like that, and they had terms of services, locked on it, and the most of the court sessions were like, oh, was this actually a terms of service? Was it readable? Blah blah blah. Um, and then we get to a point where terms of service is locked in on just about anything nowadays, and you have in it somewhere buried an arbitration agreement. And that arbitration agreement, companies like arbitration agreements. Why do they like arbitration agreements? Well, the big thing is they're binding, so it's going to keep the cost low for them. Uh, you share the cost of paying the arbiter, so you, as a person who might not have any money and might have been seriously injured, has to pay um, part of this arbiter, and the company, which is pennies on the dollar for them, is going to pay for this, compared to what they're going to pay if they have to go through court and file motions and all this stuff. So it greatly reduces the cost for them. The second thing is arbitration is usually confidential, so it's not going to be a big press thing. They're not going to, whatever your final decision isn't um, isn't open for the press to get a hold of. That's why most of the time, you hear, oh, this happened. This company did something really bad, and then you never hear about it again because more than likely they ended up in arbitration and they settled and they did a non-disclosure agreement on what the settlement was. So you never heard what the settlement was. Uh, you know, like uh, but I will say that there's a couple that like the Subway one where they somebody accused them of not having any tuna in their tuna, and then but if you go back and you look, they actually there was an independent survey of their tuna, and it found out it did have tuna in it, and the lawsuit ended up getting dropped. But anyway, like, you end up in arbitration, it's confidential and nobody hears about it. How it was settled, or if you were in the wrong, or how bad it was. It also kind of helps them escape. Uh, it kind of also helps them escape the issue coming back against them later. If you guys notice, early in the 2000, like 2007, maybe 2008, Apple got caught messing around with people's batteries on their iPods. Now, this was kind of a big deal because they were basically shortening the lifespan of people's iPods batteries, and a lot of people, some people don't remember it. Some people, never really had the problem, so it was never a big deal. But um, it was kind of a thing that happened. Well, um, wouldn't you know? About 10 years later, I would say it was 2018. Goodness gracious, this did not start off well. Natalia, are you gonna shoot anything? About 2018, 2019, um, you had Google get accused again of shortening the lifespans on their iPhones. Their iPhones would suddenly die for no reason. Like their battery was fine a few seconds ago, and then before this one update came through, and then all of a sudden that update was useless. Or that update, all of a sudden your phone was dying super fast, and nobody could understand why it was happening, and uh, it just turned into this huge thing. Well, there's a class action lawsuit. Guess what was never mentioned in the class action lawsuit? The fact that Apple at one point had done this before in the past, and why it was never brought up. That's because it all went through arbitration. Nobody heard about it. It wasn't this big thing, and oh, goodness gracious, and so it was never. Eventually they settled out of court, I believe. Uh, I don't remember for how much, but they definitely settled outside of court. Um, and for an amount that probably was more than they, less than what they deserved to pay. Yeah, there we go. Good job. And I'm looking at a leaf. Um, so arbitration agreements kind of became the standard in the industry, in all the industries, because it kept everything quiet and it kept everything out of the news, and it didn't really establish too much pres, court cases that could be used against them in the future, and it kind of started to work against people. And the Supreme Court really needs to step in at this point and say, uh, you know, I have hard feelings against your ability to waive a right that you don't even know you have yet. Like you don't know if you're going to get injured doing something, or if your cell phone's going to blow up in your hand. So why, like that was a huge Samsung thing, is their phone battery was blowing up in people's hands. It would get too hot and explode. To say that that person has to now go to arbitration is ridiculous. They didn't know that they were going to have that, and yet for some reason um, we allow people to sign away that right and sign away their ability to seek just compensation for it, because they're going to have to go through arbitration instead. And um, now we're going to run away and we're going to let Natalia deal with her. Natalia, get in there. No, don't turn around. Ow. You're worthless, Natalia. Where is she? Oh, that's a grenade. Ah. It's how you do something. Ugh, that was unnecessary. So worthless, Natalia. There it is. Anyway, so you lock stuff down when you do an arbitration agreement, and it's fundamentally something that hurts uh, consumers in the long run. At this point, um, I think there was a Disney case just recently that was just revolting. Um, there was a couple; they had a legitimate injury at this town. I believe Disney owned pieces of it, or was involved with it in some way, shape, or form, and they kind of brought Disney in as deep pockets, and Disney ended up saying, "No, you can't sue us," and their response for it was because the husband had a Disney Plus account, and they had signed a Disney Plus agreement that said that they would agree to arbitration. That was Disney's defense. Um, and that that just brings up a whole nother problem with arbitration agreements. If you can lock that much of your court, that much of your court behind that, um, and signing away your rights. Um, run. So arbitration agreements as a whole are something that is going to come to a head, and I believe they're already kind of at a breaking point in a lot of states. Um, I know a New Jersey court had just kind of decided like, hey, if you're going to put an arbitration agreement in your terms of service, it needs to be clear and convincing. Like there's no, oh, we kind of put it in. Um, you can't. You can obviously bury it, like that's your choice. But um, it and that's what a lot of companies have started doing nowadays. Is oh no, there's that last Tommy gun. There it is. I think you have to go around. Yeah, that's where that ladder came into. That's why that ladder needed to be there. Because if I recall correctly, you have to climb up behind the Tommy gun to get it. Nope. All right. There we go. Now they're all gone. Oh, why did you run into that? No, 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 no. Yeah, Natalia, you do it. This is ridiculous. Oh, out of nowhere. What did I do? Blow myself up? I literally, I, I literally just have a little bit left to go, and I'm there. That's the end of the level, and I don't want to really give up. Uh, but yeah, so arbitration agreements have become kind of like a backstabbing thing for corporations to hurt more than help, as it was originally supposed to be. Um, because it was originally supposed to be something that helped people, and instead it's now turned into something that is literally just destructive in the court system. And it's becoming it. There's a headway coming to it because obviously some courts have kind of stepped in and said, "Hey, think we've gone a little far with this." Other ones have kind of taken a step in the wrong direction. It depends on what state you're in and where you're at overall, but uh, it's yes, there it is. It's going to be an ongoing fight in the next couple years as far as arbitration agreements go, and figuring out where they're best suited for. I think it's something that should be agreed to by both parties at time of litigation. And if one party doesn't want to do it, it shouldn't be something that was agreed upon through something that I mean, it also kind of goes towards, how can you? I mean, this is something the medical field is experiencing right now. How can you agree to something that you don't have the specialty knowledge to even know? Um, a lot of medical professionals are kind of struggling with that as far as having the knowledge to keep you informed, well informed. Um, keep you well informed when you're going for a surgery or something. When everything they're saying took years and years for them to even understand, let alone someone who has never been in the medical field to understand it. And that becomes harder and harder each year. And they're struggling with that right now. And I think terms of service is going to be a real struggle soon enough because they're going to have to start justifying how people understand it when you're reading a 12-page paper. You have to read a 12-page paper um, to agree to a terms of service. And I say 12. That's actually quite generous. A lot of times terms of service is so long, it'd take you an hour and a half just to read through them, and that's hard. That's hard. That's becoming harder and harder to justify in our culture. Um, that we're allowing that to continue to this day. You know. Um, Come on, run across that bridge. You are not running across that bridge. Ow. Oh, it was the best that time I've had with her. Goodness gracious. I think I headshotted her too. She deserved it. But it's definitely there definitely needs to be some reform done. And I'm sorry, but terms of services are going to have to be redone and relooked at because of how um, specialized they've become at this point, where you almost need a lawyer to look through it before you agree to it. Not to mention, there's a certain amount of duress when it comes to, at this point, when it comes to um, agreeing to a terms of service. Like, you go out and you buy $1,000 phone, and then you get a terms of service. What if you don't agree to it, but you only have two choices: either agree or, you basically have a block, a nice desk piece for yourself, because to not agree to it, um, that's essentially what it becomes. It becomes a nice block. You can't use it unless you agree to it. And that becomes a whole nother problem that I don't think the courts take into consideration. Because most phones and DVD players and computers and everything, they are non refundable the second you open them. That is over. And I don't think we take that too much into consideration. Let's get this minigun right here. Oh, climb too high. And then gotcha. There's one more minigun up here. And then, one thing I remember is just run. Just run, because you are never going to outdo them, and just run to the elevators. There we go. That's what I forgot. They just keep coming if you don't just run. So, good. We got that one done. Let's see. What's the next one? Yeah, the control room. Probably one of the harder levels. But yeah, like I said, it'll be coming to a headway, I believe, soon in the next 5 to 10 years. We'll be hearing about fights over how legal terms of service are, and how can we justify them when nobody reads them in the first place. So, but that's it for today. My name is Jack the Noob, and we're just getting a little bit better each day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Have a good night.